Thank you, Ani, for joining in. Today's topic, embracing the woman in you. We have talked about this over a week, and we decided that we should jump in this particular topic. And we also agreed that this topic we can dive in deeper as much as we want to, but it's quite overflowing and overwhelming.
Yes.
I gotta say, with so many questions that came in. But without any ado, let's start our topic today, embracing the woman in you. But I'm going to give you at least 1 to 2 minutes to talk about you and your work, so that our viewers know who this fabulous lady here with me. How to you?
So, hello everyone, and first of all, thank you, Vanan, for having me on your platform. It's really amazing. I've seen some video, and I've been really motivated watching them. Secondly, I would also like to thank all the women who have had the courage to pose the questions that they have posed, because I was surprised to see that many of those questions are also my question, and I didn't have the courage to say it. So each and every one of you who have taken the stand today to send in the questions, you have taken a stand for each and every one of us. So really, really, thank you so much. Well, what I do is I am a humanitarian, and I have two social change organizations. One is in Singapore, it's called Sanrakshan, and another one is in India, that's called Faith Foundation. We work for safeguarding children from sexual abuse, and also at the same time we also work with women and work towards if I may say, for the want of better word, gender equity and gender equality, and developing their confidence and bringing them out there so that they can live their dreams. So yeah, this is what I've been doing, just a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the humble introduction that you've done, Dr. Vani. I got to
There's
stress
no
the doctor because you are humble. Dr. Vani, I know that you have done such fabulous work not only in Singapore but also in India, with a lot of issues pertaining with women. And I've been following you, and we know each other, I think, for a couple of years already. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have done a couple of talks before. But
Yes.
yeah, so that's very interesting to see how we get connected. And of course, like we mentioned, the topic itself weighs a lot of different topics and parameters we can actually go to. But before we go into the questions and also what viewers actually asked us, we also encourage our viewers who are watching this right now, if you do have a pertaining questions, you can also privately send to us. We will not mention the names. Or if you think that it's fine and you want to be involved in this talk session, so please go ahead and ask us, and we will answer to within our knowledges. And if we don't have, then we will try to get it for you. But most of the times with Dr. Mani here, I'm sure we can able to get all the answers for you. All right. um, so Dr. Mani, I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead, please. Yeah.
When we talked about a lot of topics, and I think this particular topic, it captures everyone, even the male and the female, and also to give respect to every genders. All right, we're also talking about transgenders, anybody, right? As long they feel that it's something value. But before we even go into the questions, but in your line of work, I know you have seen some terrible conditions, which I know you have also teared and emotional period. But my question to you is, how do you able to cope up every time when you see such a situation, when I know you have went in a rescue missions before? Maybe you want to share us with that with all of us.
Well, I have failed miserably in coping up. I'm going to be very, very honest here. And often when I come back home, especially I remember when I went to Malaysia and I had this workshop with refugees there, Rohingya refugees, and probably this was the first time that I have seen the way they were being there, the way they were living there. I came back and I was shattered. And likewise, often when we get in this kind of work of service, it takes a toll on us, it burns us out. So what is most important, which I know now, is to take care of your health, take care of your mental health first. Have a sounding board, have people who can listen and understand, have a space to unwind, have a boundary that after this I will not take up the call, have a courage to say no. And also, if it is required, take the help of professional. I have taken it, and I have no shame in sharing that I have gone to professionals, I've gone to psychologists to take help in order for me to bounce back and not burn out anymore.
And and
Does that answer
and
your
the,
question?
yes, it did. But I will also be thinking, because as a professional as yourself, I mean, you are very open, and you have actually sort of all kind of help. I mean, in a rescue mission, because the aftermath, I think it's actually can be quite terrible, right? Isn't it? Because you see real situations, but we sometimes you don't see it in where we are right now. But in that kind of situation, how do you? I
Hmm.
mean, can you share some of your, maybe one of your real life experiences that you went through? I mean, what you saw at that particular area, with, because you work with women, you work with kids, there can be certain issues. What kind of situation is that? What do you expect, or how do you feel in that situation?
I have so many such examples. I'm just trying to think of which one would be appropriate here. Um, Very recently, I've been reflecting on my journey, and I went back to when I was very new. I think I want to give this example. So what happened is that I had this. I went to give workshop to children at one of the spaces, one of the places in India, which had children rescued from streets. So there was this one girl after the workshop was over. She came to me and she told me that, I feel like I have AIDS. And she was very, I mean, anyway melt when I see children. And she was this 12-year-old girl with lots of potential, and coming to me and looking at me with this puppy eyes and saying that I'm so scared that I feel I have AIDS. And for a while, it was difficult for me because I was new. So it was very difficult for me to understand, as in how am I going to handle this. Um, but then what helped me in that moment is to face my fear that I'm scared and still be in the inquiry. So I asked her, why is it that you feel that you have AIDS? So she said, because after I was born, my dad was diagnosed with AIDS, and my mom told me, and right now none of them are with me, and I don't know if the AIDS happened before I was born or after I was born. So I don't know that. So for me, back then, being just a small fry or like a new social worker, I wanted to do something about it, but I wasn't sure. And that's where I think sometimes being scared and still choosing courage helps. So I said, okay, never mind. Let me go to the principal's office and let me talk to the principal. So I went
Mhm.
there. I told them that, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And this is a girl in your home who says that she has AIDS. And is there any way possible that she can come to know about it, whether she has it or she doesn't have it? And I was so glad that I had the courage to have that conversation. And they told me that, we do the blood assessing of everyone whom we take here, and I can bring in the reports if they got the report. And in the report it was negative. But in that moment something opened up in me that, um, for those 9, 10, 11 years, this girl was living in the fear that she has AIDS. And for her, when I went to her and I told her, that sigh of relief is something for which I will live this moment all over again. So that something lifted from her. Her face changed, and I that's what I live for. That I live for those moments. I live for that kind of transformation. Yeah.
So you do have real life experiences when you go for these kind of missions, and also over the past few years with your organization. So I think that's a true life experiences, because one can be very strong, but one who faces the real situations, I think Even if I go for a rescue mission, probably I will melt down as well, because I think it requires a certain level of commitment, boldness, confidence. We can talk about all that, but certain time it just collapses on you because you are in that situation. So I'm going to take the second
Can
question right now. Yeah. Sorry,
I
doctor.
say something? Can
Yeah,
I answer?
please.
Yeah. I think we really give a lot of credit to strength and to boldness, but I think what's required in such a space is to have the courage to be vulnerable. That
Yeah.
yes, it's impacting me, yes, it's affecting me, and I'm just human. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for
Go
that. I
ahead.
mean, you're very honest today. I mean, we are coming to know a lot of things about people. That's right. Because what we are, it's a mask, right? One can be very confident, but within them, they have a different mask. They try to put it up because they don't want the society to feel it, or to use their weaknesses,
Yeah,
and in a
yeah,
different manner. I mean, doctor, is very true, because in your years of your mission that you went in, of course, you have seen certain more cases that is even more difficult. But I think you are doing a great job. So I'm going to take this
thank
question too. But I mean, of course, we
you.
do respect. We do not want to mention that particular person's name. So we just
Yes,
wiped up the name, but we brought the question in. So I'm going to bring that up. But I think that what
yeah,
is all the time we speak about when we talk about embracing the woman or woman empowerment, there's always this topic that comes in, about family. So this, how can a woman can cope up with her dreams if she does not get support from husband or family? Um, can it be the other way around? How can a man cope up with his dreams if he does not get support from his wife or family? So it can be in the both ways, but since it was asked to us, so we try to address it. What is your take on this, doctor?
yeah. I think, as you said, right, it is true both ways. Often men are given the responsibility to go and earn for the family, and thus maybe somebody wants to be something else and they don't get that opportunity to be. So it is true both ways. But to this particular question, I would also like, I totally understand where this person is coming from. I get it.
Hmm.
I would say that, first of all, identify the dream. Sometimes it's a very broad question, right? That I have a dream. What is that dream? Is that dream something that you can then divide into goal? Is it a dream that's making you not sleep at night? Is it a dream that you really 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 want to pursue? And if it is that dream, then trust me, you have to make people understand it. Because if that dream is something which without achieving which you are not happy, then you have to open the conversation with, whether it is your husband, whether it is your family. Because if you are not then with that dream, you will not be your 100% in any of the relationship. So with lots of love and with lots of understanding, first make yourself understand that you have a dream, and is it a dream for which I really want to have probably the most uncomfortable conversation of my life. And if it says yes, go for it and do it.
It's a bit pretty interesting because, I mean, as we are in 2020 right now, if we talk about this in the 18s or 1900s, the early 19th, we tend to, compare this, woman is equivalent to kitchen, that's what people say, right? But it's a bit strange right now. If you look at it, men are in the kitchen as well. Right? Men are the best chefs in the world right now. So the whole demographic, the whole demographic has been changed, you know. So, but then again, these questions still comes up as, how can a woman, why is that always been, why don't they put it as, how can a man? I mean, so you look at it, it's still stereotyping into that woman part. What will be that be? Why it's not been changing?
Yes, I I I think the conversation has to open both ways. So what has happened is that if we look at the history, right, if we go from very long time onwards back, all these issues were women related issues initially, long time back, when the women were supposed to be in the kitchen, when the man was supposed to go out and do the job. So both ways, what happened is, because of this social conditioning, a man who wants to now cook has been given the tag of bawarchi, and he doesn't know anything, and and a woman who doesn't want to cook has been given, oh, she's not homely. So it comes from a very long way of stereotyping, and this kind of conversation has to open through both the genders, or I won't even say both the genders, all the genders for that matter, that. And also, I think the question, where the questions are coming from, sometimes these questions come from very traditional families, and in those traditional families, the gender roles are still divided that way. While we are staying in Singapore, and and I'm in a modern, my husband goes and cooks a lot of time, and I bet there are men who love to cook, and love to feed their family, their girlfriends, their wives. But also at the same time, if you look at the percentage, there is still a lot of stereotyping. There is still that a woman is supposed to cook and a man is supposed to go out. So I think that's why these questions are coming. We need to
Yeah, but
open up the conversations, Van.
yes, that's right, that's right. But also, thanks to the applications, we have different food apps right now in Singapore or even the world. So
Mhm.
nobody cooks
Yeah.
right now. The kitchen has become like an extra spare room. You can even put a bed and sleep, because right now people are both husband and wife, male and female, are working in this era. But so I think lesser and lesser in time, we just call and within 30 minutes are coming. But then it's still, it have to change. It have to be changed. It has been changed, because some of the women are CEOs, some of them are professionals. It's now become the other way around, right? Nowadays the woman tells the man, you know what, you take care of the kitchen while I go to the work. I know for a few of my circles that some of the husbands are homemakers rather than the wife. So I think that's
Mhm.
fine. It's a family, and you make a commitment, and it's a mutual respect, and they agree, she agree, you know just go ahead. So that was a very
Mhm.
good one. But of course, particular to that person who asked us that question, um I'm going to go into this, because this is a little bit of a kind of a taboo in our culture. When we talk about these, people tend to like, why? It's still a little bit of shyness, but since it was asked, so I'm posting the question 5. Why women are still unable to express their sexual satisfaction with their partners? Men take it as offense always. Why?
Do men take it as offense? What do you have to
I
say about that?
I do not know, because that could be because certain medical issues. Maybe
Mhm.
they have to visit some doctors to get themselves checked, and I mean, nowadays, with technology and modern science, the field is such a great. You just have to accept it and just move on. But that could be, looking at this particular question with that the person who sent us, seems like she might having it this kind of a issue, so that is why she has brought up. What is your take on that?
Many women are having this kind of issue, not only her. And let
Okay.
me be very, very clear here. Many women are having, and many men are having these issues.
Okay, so it's both
So
both sexes.
certainly, that conversation is that. See, when you read this word, also you went very fast, and even we were contemplating if we want to keep this question, if we want to
That's right.
drop this question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of taboo that is attached to it. Having said that, the person who has asked this question has been bold enough to come forward and ask it for so many men and women who are there, and who are going through this. So I think I will definitely try to answer
Yeah.
this question. And before going into this question, I would like to say that I get it. I hear you, I get it.
Okay.
Now, the first line that I'm going to say, it might sound like very straight and very insensitive line. Stop treating yourself as an object.
Okay.
Stop treating your body as an object. You know what? It's all in the conversation. Even if you don't know me, and let's say if you're a woman and you think that my identity is a man and we are chatting on the phone, it will take 5 minutes for me to arouse you. So where is it happening? Is it happening in the body? Is it happening all here? Mostly it's here, right? So and what else is here? Of course body will respond to it, but it's happening here. What else is here? That it's bad, it's dirty, it's sin, it's not good, and if I talk about it or if I do it, or then there will be certain meanings and everything attached to it. So first of all, before having this conversation with your and what you are facing, it is quite possible that the person on the other end is also facing the same thing, or maybe more. Who knows what their conditioning is
Mhm.
in this topic? We don't talk about it, right? We just do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely we don't talk about it. Yeah. Every time
so
it's under the carpet.
everything is pushed under the carpet. So the first thing is to eliminate everything that you have associated with it, and then start the conversation and have the conversation with the person who is with whom you want to have sexual relationship with. And if it doesn't work out, move on.
But I'm going to go a little bit more deeper. What happens for married couples? That's going to be another issue, because you can't just say
Yeah.
I'm walking apart just because of this situation, right? Because it can be, may not be.
Yes.
But I think, like what you mentioned, communication is good. But I think
Yes.
what you could be also looking at is looking at the next possible situation of finding an answer for that issue. So you might want to check with your doctor and see what
Absolutely.
it can enhance, rather than closing it and not bringing it up, because it can be a bit shyness, taboo, self-esteem. So you have to open it up. So that, I mean, I'm sure you are along with the line also.
Absolutely. At least the first thing that you have to do is to first you eliminate your barrier. If it is difficult for you to eliminate your barrier, because there could be a lot of things that might have happened in your own past, first talk to someone, talk to a professional. And once you are comfortable in your sexuality, then talk to your partner. If it is not working by you talking to them, because it could be very difficult. It's a very difficult. It has been made a very difficult conversation. Then at least what we could do is take the partner and you to the professional. Have a professional intervention who can talk to both of the professionals, talk to both of you together, talk to both of you
Yeah.
separately as well. So this is a very good approach to address it when the couple is married, and see where the work how the it's about how can you bring in the workability in your marriage. How can you further go, and you never know, maybe it will become one of the best marriage you can ever have.
Yes, I mean, of course, like situations keep on changing, because it's never about one party, it involves both party. I think as
Yes,
couples, I think they should be looking at situations and possible solutions to find that, but it's still not spoken widely, because of judgment, right? I think more on a judgment. I think people are afraid to be judged, like, oh,
absolutely.
what happens, and small talks behind their backs. I think that could be one of the reasons why people are not opening up.
That too, and also I would say your past experiences as well. We hold our past like so tightly, right? So the past experiences as well, and often I work with children, so I know how often adverse experiences happen that we kind of attach the stories to and make our reality. And similarly, I think I would want to go back to what I said about marriage and what I said about that it is possible that it could be the best marriage. It is also possible that it may not become the best marriage, but at least you have gone through all the path, you have exhausted everything, and that's when after that you are making an informed choice of what you want to do. Yeah.
Hope we have answered that. Again, we don't want to mention names, so it just stays there. Um, so you know, it went a little bit deeper right now. So let's pull us outer back. Come back to the society. But I do still believe that this is still happening, but of course, as we can say that things have changed over the years, many things have been changed, right? So we hear men get abused by women, so that's not a laughing matter, but I think emotionally and physically as well, as compared to last time where we hear so many cases like man abuses woman, man violence, but right now do we also starting to see the cases going up slightly on women giving back to the men. Do you see this as a trend going up because now women are not going to be in the kitchen anymore? All right, they're not going to hold on to the cooking utensils and stay in the kitchen and listen. They are totally changed right now, right? Everything just move on. So, do you think there's a trend going up?
First of all, I would like to uncollapse the question itself, because it has nothing to do with a woman being in a kitchen or not being in a kitchen. Abuse is something which is very different from, you can be in a kitchen and still abuse. And I mean, and there are times when the father and mother of a child themselves are abuser.
Mhm,
So I also totally get that when you are asking this question, there is such a discomfort of how do I bring that question out, how do I
mhm,
rightly frame that question, because it is a taboo, nobody discusses that. and
mhm,
um, and now when I have already isolated the two situation, that it has nothing to do with who's in the kitchen and who's out of it, or who's wearing what or who's doing what, let us go back,
yep.
right? So let us go back to the question that you have asked, which is, um, whether a male is abused or why it has become a gender specific thing. Well, the statistics that the reports that come to India, the statistics that
Mhm,
come to India, out of the 54% children, it's an old statistics, but for the sake of a placeholder, I'm using it again. Out of the 54% children who have been abused, 54% are male. And I have been not knowing it from now, I have been knowing it from past
mhm,
almost 12 years since I'm doing this work. The only thing is, what happens is, in the case of a male, often it is not even spoken about, it's not even reported, it's not even, it doesn't get out, because they have been denied of so many areas of emotion, like, don't talk like, don't cry, don't talk like girl, don't run like girl, don't be like girl, and this kind of thing only happens to girls. So what, this has happened, this is how the way is. So what if somebody has, jerk you off, this is how the way is. So it is what it is, but they don't report it. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen to men. I don't believe that, especially childhood sexual abuse, I don't believe that it is a gender based crime. I think it is a person based crime.
But most of the time, these crimes, or even some are just swept under the carpet over the years, and it becomes psychological effects and so on and so forth. But I think most of the time, it's strength versus weaknesses, isn't it? Right? The stronger person are the one who are pushing it to the weaker one, and that is why most of the cases are happening. Do you agree with that line?
No, I don't think it's always true.
Mhm,
Definitely, often it is power play, but not always.
mhm,
It's definitely, it's easier to uh, overpower
mhm,
a person
mhm,
who's frail or a person who's weak. But what
mhm,
about the emotional manipulations?
mhm, mhm,
What about the, the neglect, that there's also a kind of abuse which is called neglect, emotional neglect, neglecting the needs.
mhm,
So I don't think
mhm.
it's always it often a power play, but it's not always a power play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good topic that we stayed there. I mean, thank you for a lot of viewers are still tuning to us right now. Thank you so much. I know there are a few questions that's already coming in on top of that earlier question that posed us. So I think I'm going to skip few of our questions that posted to us, Dr. Vani, and I'm going to bring Jane. Jane has asked us a long question, so let me bring it up to the screen and
Hi.
probably yeah. So this is where it is. Hi, Miss Vani. I have a question related to the topic. I know a woman who has been sexually abused by the husband. During those times, she felt like she doesn't have any right about her body. So again, it's not talking about the body and hijacking. Yeah, she
Mhm.
doesn't have the courage to say no. It make her obliged to submit to him at any time that he needed it. That sounds like rape, right? I don't know. Until such time she was able to escape from him, but up to this moment, the impact of how she suffered keeps coming back. What shall she do? How can she overcome those memories? So she's asking for a friend. Thank you, Jane. Thank you for that deep. So, Dr. Vani, so we have a situation here right now. Probably it's married couples. All right.
Could I have the question up again?
Okay, there you go. In flash.
Um, has been said during this time she felt that she does not have the right about her body. She does not have the courage to say no. It made her feel.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, so we take it in one by one.
Okay.
First of all, the way she's feeling, the out of body experience that she doesn't have the power over her body,
Mhm.
it bounds to happen. First of all, Jane, you have to tell your friend that whatever she's feeling in the moment, all the feelings are valid. All the feelings are valid. In fact, the feeling like where she feels that why is it that I'm not able to say no, even
Mhm.
that has a scientific explanation. Because what happens is when something like sexual assault happened to us, we get into our body tend to get into this three zone: fight, flight, or freeze. That's what happens. Na? Deer when the deer comes in front of a headlight, either it fights or it flights or it
True.
freezes. And most of the time, in the case of sexual assault, it's freezing. When your body is not listening to everything else that you have heard that say no, get out of there, and you have a right to your own body. Everything that we say is to empower people, is for people to know. But when it happens, you tend to forget everything and freeze. So whatever is happening to her, this is the reality.
But,
And
but I'm just going to hold you here for a while.
yeah,
So this is a particularly a married case. I mean, couples, right? So wife is not allowing, husband is abusing it, sexually abuse. Can we call this rape?
in many
But no,
countries we can call
the
it rape.
woman, because the woman is not giving a consent, and husband is under the
Yes.
relationship of husband and wife. He is taking it, and she's remaining in silence. So that could be a psychological torture as well.
Yes.
Can
So
she take action?
I think in Singapore she can.
Okay.
Very recently, it has happened very recently.
Yeah.
Has it even come out as a law or not? I don't know. But when I was working in Aware, this was being discussed,
Okay.
and there. I think they are taking off the immunity, the rape immunity from marriage. So
Mhm.
do take a look at it. If you want to go to a legal way, please take a look at it. Please contact to organizations like Aware or PAVE, and they
Yeah.
will let you know what to do about it. But I think I'm pretty sure that it's rape here in Singapore now.
So
Uh,
maybe what we can do, Vani, because since the topic is going in deeper, maybe later on we can get the numbers and we will post it here, all the counseling and certain numbers that you should contact. Please be brave because there's a whole um, organizations out there just to help you, assist you. But if you do remain in silent, then things will never evolve. You will never get better. But I see like Jane, doctor, because for Jane, she is asking behalf of a friend. So I think Jane, you're doing a fantastic job because do tell her what you have heard from here today and try to assist her. Because I think if nobody's going to help out, I think that particular person is more on a psychological effect. I think they're just getting it and then just out of fear, out of embarrassment, and so many things that comes in. So I think they're just totally break down, like what you said, freeze, right? It became freeze. I think that can also does more harm, can lead to depressions and so forth.
I because it's a very sensitive topic, so
Yeah.
I would like to just add a little bit of stuff here. that sometimes when they are in silence and they don't want to speak about it, it is absolutely all right if they are not speaking about it.
Okay.
uh, and you can't force it, because
Okay.
sometimes when they have gone out and spoken about it, they have felt very adverse experience that might have happened to them. So it takes a lot of courage for them to come out and speak about it, or even talk to a friend and say that, hey, can you ask this question on my
Mhm.
behalf?
Mhm.
Certainly those who get out and speak out, and they add to the voice, and
Mhm.
definitely you need more voices like that. But having said that, if at the moment you do not have the courage to speak out, I think as friends, family members, and as first responder, what we could do is we could just tell them that we are there for you, and whenever you need help, whichever way you need help, we will be there, we will help you out, we'll give you the numbers then, or you want me to make call, I will make a call. And also, there was another question in that this girl wants to know that what she can do. I think if she would like to have a way where she can go and connect with a psychologist or somebody who's a counselor, it would
Mhm.
be real help. Jane, please connect with me afterwards so that I can give you
Yeah.
a little bit more details on this.
But doctor, but I'm going to ask you a little challenging question right now to you, right? For
Mm.
particularly this particular person, I mean, of course, you are in an organization before and you have handled these cases, so it's all within you. Um, Somehow or other, I feel that because she is not giving a consent, all right,
Mm-hmm.
she's not enjoying the process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she feel abused by the husband, and it's
Mm.
true sexual. He could be, I think this particular person, I think, should take action against the husband. Or do you think that's just because it's husband, I got to keep quiet, and then she keep on
Oh no.
going this journey?
Oh no, it's not all right. It's
Yeah.
not okay for your husband to treat you that way. It's your consent in the matter is very important. And if you are listening to this, I want you to first get comfortable with that fact, to get in the inquiry of that fact that your consent is really, really
Yes,
very
that's right.
important.
Yeah.
And if you need to speak about it more, because I can totally understand that this is not a space where I can completely speak with you, but
Yeah.
really, if you or Jane, your friend, would like to speak with me, connect with me. Jane, I think, Jane, you have my number, so connect with me, and I would be really very happy to speak. And yes, this is not something that marital rape is not something that should be tolerated.
Yeah. I mean, I strongly believe that women shouldn't be looked upon as an object,
Nobody should be looked upon
to
as an
reduce the, or to let go the sexual desires. I think that's not it. Always, even though it's in a marriage, I think if the other party disagree, I think that there's a reason. The other party should have, able to listen to that and able to find out why, and then go through in a communication manner, rather than using, like what we talked earlier, the power. I think that is where it leads to a lot of offenses as well. So I think probably we can add some numbers later in our comment section. So for those who need it, you can,
there
because most of these,
to end
um,
this
because
scenario.
doctor, because I believe that most of these calls that you make, it's keep it very secretly, so they will help you out. So yeah. I'm going to go into actually, you see, it's very interesting. We are talking about embracing the woman in you, and we have topics that's coming in more deeper into that violent situation, the sexual situation. I think this is what some are going through as well. It's not always looking at the brighter side, but also we are looking at the side where certain things are just swept under the carpet. So I think this is one of the areas that we want to talk about. I'm going to bring up the next particular question that posed to us. It's about financial. It's a little bit of a woman struggle, and comes together with it. So let me just pull that. That's number question one that we never addressed it to it.
I think we did about the dreams.
We did
Okay,
about the dream, yeah, and the
yeah, we did.
financial part. I mean, let's touch on the financial part, doctor.
Yeah, let me,
So
uh,
in a couple, if let's say if the wife earns more than the husband, does the
yeah.
woman has more say compared to the husband who earning lesser, or how this kind of situation? I mean, what do you think about it?
How do you see the reality of money in your life? You know, it's very important for you to identify how do you see the reality of money in your life. um, Often, if let's say in the case of women, right, when we have been working and then we have got married and we don't have a job, um, we are not used to of asking money from men. Every time you ask money, hey, can I go and get my facial done, for the want of better example, or can I can I go and buy clothes for me, or any basic needs. We often don't feel very comfortable, but that is what needs to be shattered.
Mhm.
Because I have spoken with men, and they are all right for the women to come to them and ask them money and spend it on themselves, splurge it. So so while it is absolutely all right for you to go and ask the money for your survival, because marriage is something in which two of you have entered together. Both the responsibilities are being held together. If you have given up your career, if you have given up your dream, you have done it so that the family can run, so that the next person who's probably progressing in the career can continue to progress, so that the children can prosper. You could have so many reasons because of which you have given up your career, or the fact that you have given up your career and you are now being the fulcrum of your family gives you all the right to ask for money. There are many women, even when they go through divorces or those kind of things also, they are very scared of asking for money.
Yeah.
But how are you going to survive otherwise? So you have to really disengage the money from fault, shame, guilt. Again, all those things that are attached with it. Money is just an energy. Money is just something that can buy you things and nothing else. Self-esteem, rich, poor, success, failure. Don't attach all that with money. So once you dissociate everything with money, then it just becomes a, 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 a medium for you to be able to live and to be able to live the way you want to live. And then the things become much easier.
Well said, doctor. Well said on that topic. That's when it comes to money, because that also a root to all evils, right? Money is all root to all evils to a certain point.
I won't say that one. And
Oh, you
because
don't say that. Okay.
no,
You
when
did.
you say money is the root to all evil, that again is a story that you are attaching with money. I don't think it is the root
Okay.
to all
So
evil.
it's all good. It's not about
It's
evil.
so
Have
good. Have as much as you want.
it. Okay.
Spend money on me.
So, so we are going to go and another two more questions that we have jumped in. And what makes us a woman?
Mhm.
Our bodily feature? Then losing them, like losing air and breath, does it makes us lesser of a woman? What's your take on this?
Okay. I have known men whose bodily feature are like men, and they
Hmm.
are men biologically, but they absolutely feel like women.
Okay.
So I don't think that the bodily features matter. But I also I think I'm just trying to reflect on this question and get the space from which this question has been asked. And what happens is that from the childhood, the being woman or being a feminine has been attached with long hair, having the breast, having vagina, having a certain kind of body, certain kind of voice. But if you will go back and if you will look into the scientific literature, the scientific papers, you will see that we don't use the word man and woman. We use the word female sex and male sex, right?
Yeah.
Gender is a very, very fluid thing. Let us take an example. If a woman has a breast cancer. Of course the breast will be chopped off, and of course when the person is going through the chemotherapy, the hair will start to fall. Now luscious hair, breasts, that's what we are identified and objectified with. But right now, in this DNA age, you have amazing wigs, you can get implants done. Will you, having those wigs, beautiful wigs and implants done, feel like a woman if you are not feeling feminine from inside?
Mm-hmm.
So out the outer layer doesn't matter. What matters is what you're feeling from inside. Detaching your feminine with your body, with your organs, with whatever the world has told you about femininity, detaching that from feminine and just being who you are, masculine, feminine, or anything in between that gender spectrum. Embrace that. That is what is going to matter. You can cut
Beautiful
your hair
saying.
and still be feminine. You can be
I got
tomboy.
I got a very long hair, and I just
Yeah, you just tell me. So how do you feel? Do you feel feminine or masculine?
I don't feel anything. It was just me.
Absolutely. No, one, and that's the
Yeah, yeah,
thing. The
yeah.
thing, we have given so much importance to the physical form. It's not the physical form. It's way beyond the physical form where all the magic happens.
There you go. So I was right. I didn't feel anything, because I just wanted to grow, and I grew, and time to cut it off. Okay. All right. So we have went to the question 4. So we have one more to address this, but of course, please keep on coming up with the comments. So if you do have a particular comment, you can inbox message us directly, and we try to take that. If not, we will take in the question number 3. If you do not want us to mention names, also please, we never mention names here, right? We keep it everything, yeah, but we just want to address the question that posted to us. Okay, this is also quite common. Most of the time married couples have that, they will say, oh, when is your turn, they kind of stuff always comes in, and it's very irritating because the couples are going to live the life, not the one who are always questioning, and always is the third party that's always coming up, the families, I mean, could be out of concern, but it's also because of gossip. Could be a gossip, right? Hey, the couple wants to do whatever, let them be. Now we are heading towards 2020, I mean, we are already at 2020, and I think that's how it should be. But again, come back to the expert. What do you think about this?
Just because sugar mill can produce sugar doesn't mean it has to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it is, the question has been asked from a very woman's perspective, because see what happens is that we have uh, the woman can give birth, the woman can have the baby in her womb, so we have the right apparatus, and because of the right apparatus we are seen in certain ways that woman means motherhood. But woman doesn't always have to mean motherhood. There are women, and I tell you, there are times when you have 3 4 children, and sometimes you go back and you think, "Ah, I wish that I was free." And maybe I'm speaking only for myself, or maybe I'm speaking for everyone, I don't know, but that feeling comes sometime, honestly. And if a woman doesn't want to give birth, it's your body, it's your choice. You don't have to. And even let me give you an example from again from science, probably because I've been in science for some time. These days everything can be done out of the womb, so even that kind of
Yeah.
conditioning has been taken out,
Yeah.
right? So really, if you don't want to have baby, if you don't want to become mother, it is absolutely your choice. But also, as the superheroes say, that with the greater choices come greater responsibility. It is also important for you, then if you are going to get into a serious relationship, you have to face your fear and have the courage to communicate it with the person that you're going to be with, so that it's a very clear open ground for you to play.
But having said that, it's also because of the social that we are talking about. Because constantly, let's say a married couples, got married,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, for some reasons, medical, most of the time it leads to medical. Either the can be the man or the female, depending on whoever the hormones such. But it's up to them to make a decision and say that, yeah, okay, fine, I'm a child to you, you are a child to me, that's it. They're moving on. But because of the
Absolutely.
social, the community around them, a constant pressure. Oh, what happened? Oh, why is this not happening? Is everything fine? This could be also psychological stress, right? With COVID-19 is already a big stress, and this also a bigger stress for women who might not
Yeah.
be able to handle it. Some might not be able to handle it because they might be then starting to question themselves, hey, what's wrong with me? Or
So I'm
why I'm
gonna
not blessed. So how can a woman can be strong? Say, fine, I'm going ahead, it's perfectly great, no worries.
absolutely. I mean, please, moms, mother-in-laws. I'm gonna be a little preachy here. Moms,
Okay.
mother-in-laws, family, family, extended families. Please stop doing it. Let them live their life. It's their life, and we already have so many kids around in the world. Embrace one or two if you want to, but let them, let that couple have their life. And couples, please do not become parents because of the societal pressure. Because once you have, once a new life comes to you, nobody from the society is going to come and say, hey, come today, I will clean your baby's diaper and you go to sleep, or I will feed your baby, you go to sleep. Don't pay any heed to them. know, you follow your own heart, you do it when you want to do it. Yeah.
So definitely, doctor. I think you see most of the things that we discussed today. I think it has to come with psychological strength. In the past, I mean, you're in a different field. I'm in a different field, but we always talk about strength as as strong as a guy, but not true. Even some females also are much more stronger than guys. But now we are not doing comparison. But what we are trying to discuss today is about psychological strength, because I think psychological strength is very important, as particularly during this period of time, or even for women as well. I think it also goes to men. We can't be just telling to the woman, because there's so many cases that lead to tragic events and so on and so forth. But I think things are changing, things are getting better. But there's still a certain percentage who choose to remain in silence. And I mean, of course, you don't need to share with everyone, but I think it's very important that, like what Dr. Vani has said, there are certain organizations we're going to put in the numbers there in our comment section, so you can actually contact them. It's a personal, and they keep it, and help will come to you, because I know there's a lot of cases where people, women especially, or even men, remaining in silence. So I think that is area that what we are more concerned about, getting the help towards them, and try to get into a situation where it been salvaged from that whatever situation you are in. So you got to open up, because I know, Dr. Mani, over your post in your FB, I think a couple of months back, I think it's during the circuit breaker, if I remember it correctly, you mentioned it, opposite of your apartment you hear a scream, like a
Yeah.
woman is screaming. And I mean, for most will be just take it as, what, domestic quarrels, or they just keep it. But you did it differently. You went out all the way. You identify which unit, and of course you got the help of the police, and end up it turned out to be a situation supposed to be a domestic violence, isn't it right?
Yeah, yeah. And all this while you have defined like one, two, three, what I've done, it's not that I wasn't scared. I was shit scared, and I was also shit scared about the again the conditioning of the police, the way we see the police, right? And my son was much braver than me. He was the one who find it out, and
Yeah.
I was really scared. And but then that helped me to break a lot of belief system that I had about police, because in 5 minute police was there. Next thing I know that they went there, they wanted to check it out, they wanted to understand what was happening, and such sweet people, such wanting to serve. So if you are listening to something like this, I think calling police is all right. It's absolutely fine. And especially during the time of COVID, if you will read about it, they have also got certain things in place which is then more helpful for somebody who's going through some sort of stuff. And I would also like to add that very recently, with one of our partner women in Asia, we have done a campaign that's called Look for Them, wherein we have given all these numbers in the form of poster, and that has been shared with 4K women, 4,000 women in Singapore. So I'm going to give this to Vanan, that poster to Vanan now later on, and he can post it. And if you need, you can take actions. You can refer to the posters and take actions. You can refer to those numbers and take the actions that are comfortable to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Vani. I mean, I think we have discussed lots of things today. I think different questions. I mean, each questions we spend almost about 5 to 10 minutes, I think. And we, in fact, to be very honest, when we posted our talk session, we have an overwhelming of questions that came towards you. But of course, we will not be able to address all these questions. But of course, if you do have any particular question, you can, message me, and I will divert you to Dr. Vani, or Dr. Vani also. You can message her directly. I'm sure she will help out. But I think most importantly, I think whatever that we talk today is, of course, based on the kind of cases that we went through before, but not as went in as personal experience, but we have, somehow or other have assisted or, work with certain organizations. So we may be able to do some pointing out, but of course with some informations here. With that, I will thank you, Dr. Vani, for joining in for almost 1 hour of in-depth session. But I know this topic is a little bit of a taboo when it comes to violences and speaking up. And I know some of our viewers are silently watching this. Please do not feel any fear, because certain of the questions, like one of the questions that we talked about, where the husband actually uses sexually abuse the wife, and the wife remains under freezing mode, like according to Dr. Vani. And these are things that have to be highlighted. You need to speak to your trusted ones. If you don't have a trusted ones, you have these organization numbers where help is just out there for you. Dr. Vani, any last wise words for viewers before we end this talk session today?
I think we have pretty much talked a lot, and people want to go now. But I guess I have a lot of there are a lot of questions which have come, right? And probably I would take time to answer them later on. I will tag you as well. And probably I'll do it on my Facebook, because those questions are also very important and need to be discussed. So yeah, none of your questions are going to be unanswered. And if you have any more questions, send it to me, send it to Vanan, and we will be. I'm sure I'm taking it. I mean, I'm also speaking from your side. I'm taking that liberty, but I'm sure you'll be happy to answer them as well, because I've known Vanan for past 2 years, and I know how compassionate he is, and how his heart beats for all the causes that he supports. And he was telling that I am humble, but I think he's humbler. So yeah, thank you so much, Vanan, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you each and every one, all the women, all the platforms who have sent out the questions.
Thank you, Dr. Vani. It's a great pleasure talking to you, because to take your time off on an evening is you spend with your family to come out to talk on this topic. I think that is fantastic. So we will catch up again. Thank you, all viewers. Thank you for all your support. Thank you, Dr. Vani, and we will catch up soon. So this is Vanz and Dr. Vani. See ya.
Bye.